Antony comes to Tarsus. It's hot. It's 32 BC, the year before Caesar has been assassinated in Rome. Mark Antony, one of Caesar's chief assassins, is on his way to Tarsus to meet up with his fellow triumvirs for what is essentially going to be a meeting of the board of directors of the Roman Empire. His fleet arrives and he begins unloading crates and crates of gold. Going to lay out all this gold at the feet of the one person that he came to see. He wants to impress this person more than any other person he's ever met in his life. He's heard rumors of how beautiful she is, but he has never seen her yet. Cleopatra sails in on her golden barge, fully decked out like the Egyptian goddess Isis, wearing a golden crown. Her attendants fan her as she makes her way off the boat. She takes a lotus flower and puts it behind her ear. And then she looks over and sees all that gold and she laughs, which means everything to Antony. She goes over. She touches Antony and says, "Well, well, well, what brings you here, mighty Roman?" And Antony says, "I've come because they told me there was a queen who was worth seeing." And Cleopatra laughs again. They go back to her palace and they have a huge feast. There are peacocks everywhere, golden candelabras, palm trees, flowers, music and dancing. There's a full-on party, lots of drinking. And Octavian, Mark Antony's young nephew and future evil stepchild, shows up. And he's kind of a little twerp, but everybody's too drunk to notice. The entire affair in Tarsus between Antony and Cleopatra is an example of a genre of ancient literature called the love feast. It is a tradition going back to Greece where a man would come to court a woman, and they would spend a night or a day together feasting and drinking. And it wasn't just about sex, it was also about friendship and making an alliance. It was also about diplomacy. It was also about conversation and ideas. So we know that Cleopatra was really smart, and we know that she was really beautiful. So let's take a moment to talk about her beauty regimen. In fact, let's take a moment to talk about her bathroom. You're watching this on YouTube, so you're probably used to seeing people put things on their face. Maybe some of them have a 10-step process. Cleopatra had a 12-step process, and you do want to get to be the most beautiful woman in the world without putting in the work. First, she starts by washing her face in cold water, and then she applies a cream made from chickpeas and flour. She cleanses it off, and then she uses a pumice stone to remove dead skin. She washes her face again, this time in warm water, and then she uses tweezers to remove her body hair. She has someone else do this because plucking hurts. And then she uses green or red dye to color her eyebrows. She paints her eyelashes with kohl, which is a type of eyeliner. She paints her lips with a mixture of flowers and a gum called myrrh. Then she takes a paste made of milk and honey, and she covers her entire body with it, including her face. She lets it sit for a few hours, and then she removes it, and she puts on perfume made from cinnamon, cassia, and aniseed. Cleopatra and Antony are sitting together on a golden throne, a double throne. Their attendants are bringing them food and wine, and they keep laughing at each other's jokes. They're having a great time. At one point, Cleopatra asks for a mirror and she looks at herself and she turns to Antony and she says, "Well, now I know why all the women of the world go to such great lengths to be considered beautiful, because even a queen can forget that she's beautiful." Antony says, "What do you mean?" She says, "Well, when I'm alone, I'm just me. But when I'm with you, I'm reminded that I'm the most beautiful woman in the world." Antony says, "Oh, you are so beautiful that if you weren't already taken, I would want to make you my queen." So Cleopatra laughs and says, "But you are a married man." Antony says, "If I were single, I'd come to you right now and say that you will be my wife, whether you want to or not." And she laughs and says, "Oh, stop being silly." And then he leans in and kisses her. She kisses him back. A lot of people think that Cleopatra was a seductress, and that she brainwashed Mark Antony into falling in love with her. I think that Cleopatra was worthy of all the love that Mark Antony gave her. She was clever and witty and intelligent and beautiful and brave, and Mark Antony wasn't the only one who fell in love with her. There are statues of Cleopatra showing up all over the Roman world. People wanted to be near her. People wanted to be around her. At another point during the feast, Cleopatra challenges Antony to a drinking contest. She sends away all of their attendants and she says, "Do you think you could drink more than I can?" And he says, "No way, you're the queen. You go ahead and show me how it's done." So she drinks a whole bunch of wine. She finishes her goblet and she looks over at Antony and she says, "Well, your turn." And he drinks the wine and he says, "That was nothing." She says, "Well, watch this." And she pulls back her sleeve and she reveals that she has a tattoo. It says, "Cupid has shot his arrow." And Antony laughs and he says, "So what does that mean?" And she says, "It means that Cupid has shot both of us with his arrow." Well, then they kiss again. Now, we don't actually have any evidence that Cleopatra had a tattoo that said Cupid has shot his arrow, but we do know that she had at least one tattoo. We know that because Plutarch tells us that she had a tattoo on her thigh that said New Moon. And the reason that's important is that it showed that she was part of the cult of Isis. See, in ancient Egypt, the cult of Isis was the biggest religious movement going. Now, it wasn't like Christianity where you prayed to a guy up in heaven. It was more like a mystery religion. Like when you got initiated into the cult of Isis, you knew special things. You were part of something special. And every month, the initiates of the cult of Isis would celebrate the new moon. So by getting a tattoo of the new moon, Cleopatra was showing everybody that she was initiated. We know that Cleopatra spoke 9 languages. We know that she was incredibly smart and beautiful, but we don't know if she was an accomplished lover. This is a rare opportunity to look at one of the most famous couples in history through the lens of what was probably one of their first dates. So we want to do it right. We want to set the mood. So we got a candlelit dinner ready for you. We got some wine. I opened with a nice bottle of Chianti Classico. It's from Italy. That's where Rome is from. It's 80% Sangiovese and 20% Merlot. It's got a nice kick to it, but it's also smooth and sophisticated, just like Mark Antony. The food is traditional Roman cuisine. We got some fresh bread, some roasted chicken, some lamb with mint sauce, some fish from the sea. And of course, no Roman feast would be complete without dessert. So we're going to end with some figs, some grapes, and some dates. Now, when you're trying to romance someone, you got to set the mood right. So we got a harpist playing in the background. We got some nice candelabras lighting the way. It's just a perfect evening, all right? You're in the mood for love. Let's keep it going. Check out this playlist. It's got songs from across the centuries about love and lust and romance. It'll make you want to dance. It'll make you want to woo. Gotta make you want to smooch.